Hey guys, so thanks for joining us. I know there's so much going on right now for all of you. I really think you're going to enjoy the resources that Tracy is sharing. I'm so glad that they're there because they'll help you fill in some of the gaps in your lessons or teach you some new techniques that you may not realize you could do. Tracy, thanks so much for sharing your expertise and your resources today. And I'm really looking forward to working through this with you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. So welcome everyone. I'm Tracy Wiley with Georgia Public Broadcasting's Education Department, and I am the outreach specialist for North Georgia, which means I do support Coweta County and 80 other school districts in the north. Coweta is one of my favorites, so we always enjoy working with Donald. So thanks again for having me. Yes. So I have set up the presentation today on a Nearpod, and that's because I can share it with you. It's in slide form with embedded links so that you can go back through the Nearpod asynchronously as if you were my student. And at any time throughout the semester, you can click on the links and at your own pace, go back and review it. So don't worry about this joining the nearpod.com because that's really just a live feature. Just know that every slide that you're going to see and all the resources, you will have access to that on your own through your own copy of the slideshow. There's also a resource list that is sort of a companion piece, everything in an hour, but there's so much content out there that I wanted to make sure you had access to a place where you could go and find it and not necessarily have to dive into the Nearpod. So we've created this resource list. It looks like this. It's very just straightforward, simple. On the left are the sites where we are going today, and then on the right are very specific resources. So within GPB Education, we'll be going to some of our live explorations in our video series. And then PBS, I've highlighted a few collections and different series that I thought were really engaging for basically, this is more 2nd through 5th science, but there's also some pre-K through 1 in here as well. You can see that they kind of overlap. So even if you're a pre-K through 2 teacher or pre-K through 1 teacher, you'll find some content here as well if you're watching this video. So this particular resource list is available to you again indefinitely. We've created it. We're not going to delete it. We'll just add to it. So you can go through, read the titles, access the content, and just throughout the year if you're looking for ideas. So again, a couple pages of content, 3 pages actually, of lots. So that's the second little bit.ly there, the second URL. And then the third place will be is PBS Learning Media, and that's where all the content is coming from today, GPB and PBS. And we'll spend a little bit of time on that. This is the site, pbslearningmedia.org. And you'll see that I'm signed into my account, so I can access my favorites, my folders. I can build lesson plans and assessments, but you don't have to have an account to use this content. So you can share links with your kids, with your parents, with your colleagues. Even if they don't have an account, they can still access all the games and the lesson plans and everything. We just recommend creating an account because it gives you more control over the content, and because there are a couple of resources that do record student work. And if they have an account either through Google Classroom or through PBS or through Clever, then you can see that content. And Donald and I talked earlier, it seems like the easiest ways through Google Classroom, so I'll show you how that works. So you can just connect with your kids through Google Classroom and PBS. So as I mentioned, PBS, you have a few highlights. First of all, you can browse by subject. So if you click on subject up here at the top and click on science, then it'll take you to a large overall science page where you can, of course, explore the different subtopics, earth science or life science or physical science. Or you can just dive right in and start filtering by grade or by type if you're looking for videos or if you're looking for lesson plans. And you can sort by popularity, relevance, or what's the newest activity. So you can see there's over 6,000 videos that are available in science. I haven't filtered anything. But again, it's just a very rich resource, 104 interactive lessons as you scroll down, almost 700 games. So a lot going on to keep you and your kids really aligned to the standards. They all are aligned to the GSEs. You'll see that standard box here. So you can even search by standards. And then every piece of content will have standard alignments. If you sign in, you have to sign in to see the standard alignments. So another reason to create a teacher account. And students can also have free accounts too. So that's one way to search. Other way is by grade, of course. Early elementary will narrow it down for you this way. And then you can start filtering by topic if you want to do it that way, filter by discipline. And you can also search by keyword. So you can type in any keyword you want, or you can search for nothing just by clicking the magnifying glass, and then you'll get everything, over 32,000 results. And then you can start narrowing it down on the left here by grade, or by subject, or by type, or even by language. You know, there's a lot of Spanish resources, and also things like accessibility if you want things with closed captioning, or even just videos that can be downloaded or that come with support materials. There's all different ways you can really just focus in on what you're looking for. All right, so that's just a very quick introduction to what we're going to be focusing on today. Elementary science education, just a general guide to all of our content. And our goal today is really just so you kind of become familiar with how to find the content, what's available. And then we're also going to be doing some online learning activities, just sharing a few strategies that work especially well in a virtual environment. And since we're doing this really just Donald and I, we won't have kind of that group engagement, but at least you'll have an idea of how these resources these strategies might work for you, just as we kind of explain them. And also just keep in mind that the strategies, of course, are universal for whatever grade. So whether you teach 3rd or 5th or pre-K, a lot of these strategies work across the grade bands and the content areas. All right, so first thing I wanted to start with our new GPB education website. It is brand new. It's been out for about 2 weeks, so it's maybe a little unfamiliar to you guys. Just want to show you a couple things about that. When you log on, you'll see that it just has the hero bar at the top, and you're on our education page. You can search for any keyword again, just from education. But I really want to highlight one of the first things that I think is most important for this school year, especially, is our Georgia home classroom. Don, I don't know if your teachers are aware of it, if they're just familiar with this. They are?
I've shared it with them, but I know for some of them that seems like years ago now. So it might be good to walk them through it just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we have updated it. We're constantly updating, adding to it. It is with those standards. So you can see here, I'm just going to go ahead and click the Learn More. It's right there on our website. It takes you into the classroom. This was created in March, and it was to assist with online learning throughout the state. But of course, we are still in that situation, and so we've been continuing to expand it. You'll see there are 3 different components. First is the resources. Those resources, again, they're all free, and they are all aligned to the standards. They go in order. So literally, if you click in, I'll show you how, but if you click into your 1st grade science, then you just go in order 1, 2, 3. And so you can follow it throughout the year and get ideas for what resources will help you teach that exact standard. There are also these getting ready guides. You may not be aware of these. These are relatively new. They came out over the summer to help teachers share with their parents some ideas for helping kids get ready for school. If parents were worried that they may not have done as well in the spring, or they may not be as prepared for the fall, these guides were created again by the Department of Education. And so they're PDFs. I'm just going to click on that so you can see what they look like. They're very easy to download and share, and really good thing, I think, to send to your parents if you haven't had a chance already, just to they are in English and in Spanish as well. So there's a little video about them. I'm just going to click on the getting ready for, let's do 2nd grade PDF. There's 2nd and 3rd. It'll download it for you, and then you pull it up. It is this PDF about PE and health, PE and health and wellness, ELA, math, social studies, and science at the bottom here. And it just is some very basic bullet points, that things you can do with your kids. Observe weather with them, record your observations, use data to identify patterns of weather. So things like that, just to help them kind of get used to what they might be experiencing in the classroom in the fall. And then the other thing to highlight is the broadcast schedule. So this has been, again, extended from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Every week we update it. And I think what's really important about the broadcast schedule is that even though not all of our kids have access to Wi-Fi, they do all have access to, 98% have access to the television, PBS kids. So you can see these are the educational programming that's going on all day long, and every one of them has learning activities that are associated with them. So if your kids, for instance, are watching, let's find science here, the wild kratts in the morning, if you click on that, it'll take you to activities about life science. So even your kids who don't have internet or access to a device at the time can watch TV and do some learning around a standard outlet. So keep that in mind. And then the learning resources, the first one, if you click on that, let me just show you. You scroll down, it will, again, it's divided by grade level. So we're gonna go into, let's do 3rd grade this time. So you click on 3rd grade science, and it will take you to that specific page, and you can see that it starts right at the top, S3E1, with taking soil, being soil scientists. It's an activity from PBS Learning Media, and the skill is obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information about the physical attributes of rocks and soils. So you can literally follow this home classroom, standard by standard, and there will be something for every single standard that will help you supplement your lessons. And if you feel like there's some gaps, or you'd like some more help, just reach out to us and we're happy to go in and add even more content. So that's just a summary of some of the overall things that are available through GPB and PBS. And of course, if you ever have questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Donald, and we'll be happy to help you with that. And now I'm going to get a little specific, and again, just to help you feel like, you know, there's some ideas for some exact standards, and knowing that you can go back in this Nearpod, even if you're not teaching the standard now, in a few months, you can go back and, you know, look for this content again. But really just wanted to hone in on a few standards and some ideas. So we'll start with life science. Grade 3, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the similarities and differences between plants, animals, and habitats found within our physiographic regions here in Georgia. So you may or may not be aware that we have quite a lot of virtual field trips from GPB, and one of them is the Regions of Georgia virtual field trip. So to find those again, you would just go to gpb.org. You can type /education if you want to stop and, you know, skip a step. So gpb.org/education, and it will take you to our education page, and probably just search, you know, for regions. And we've got here virtual learning journey. Saw that it popped up, and then it's the virtual learning journey regions of Georgia. So if you click on that, this is an immersive tool, and so it really is for kind of sending your kids into it to explore. So it's really great for these days where, you know, kids have more time to really dive deep into the content. So if you want your kids to have that opportunity to look for things and explore, this is a wonderful resource. There are support materials that go with it, and those are things like discussion questions, vocabulary expansion activities, and standard alignments, of course. So that's for your teachers. You can click on that PDF. And when you launch the resource, you click launch, it'll open it up, and then it takes you really into this immersive experience. Now, we have also taken the components of this experience, so the photographs, the videos, the games, and we've pulled them out and put them on either YouTube, if they're a video, or we've put them in Google Arts and Culture as an exhibit. So if you didn't want your kids to have to dive in and look around, explore, you can also find just bits and pieces in those areas. So keep that in mind. I'll show you that as well, the YouTube page. And all that is here on our resource list. We don't have time to go to everything, but you'll see that we do have, looks like it's not on this one, so I'll add it. But definitely there's a YouTube page as well where you can go. So let me go back to the Nearpod. All right, so here we are in the regions of Georgia, and this is what it looks like. And of course you can click on whichever region you want to explore. So we've got our 5 regions. You can click on any one of them. And that's one way to get into it. There's the user guide again. Another way to get into it is to click on this little thumbnail view, and I'll just show you what each section looks like. So the Appalachian Plateau, Valley and Ridge, Blue Ridge, Piedmont, and Coastal Plain. It's a little animated background, so it's kind of fun to get the kids engaged. If they click on any one of these, it takes them deeper into that region. So if we click on Valley and Ridge, for instance, there's a little description about valleys and ridges. There's your map again, so you can see where it is, map and globe skills. And as they page down, they can watch videos about this particular region. They can see some images. You can pull these images out for carousel walks or any kind of analysis you want to do, see, think, wonder. Page down again. This is more of a did you know, it's like fun facts. You can click on it, it tells you fun facts about the Blue Ridge. So again, this very immersive experience. You can maybe send your kids in for a scavenger hunt, have them look for things that are aligned to the content, get them really engaged and having fun instead of like, oh, I don't want to study geography. Make it more immersive. And you can see there's even a puzzle at the end. So lots of maps, lots of photos, lots of videos. Did you know for every one, these fun little facts. And then of course, I really love puzzles. So if you just want to have your kids go in and, you know, help them just kind of become familiar with the size of the regions and their location with each other, then they can go in and they can play this puzzle. So it's loading right now, but you can see, oh, what fun. Yay, so you can drag and drop the puzzle. So again, it's more than just a PDF, more than just images. It's a chance for your kids to use some tactile learning and have some fun with a map of Georgia and work on those map and globe skills. All right, so that is our virtual field trip on the regions of Georgia. So what I wanted to do for this section, and again, we're just kind of running this as a recording, but this is something you could do in any platform, whether it's Zoom or Google Meet, Google Hangout, or Microsoft Meet, Teams. You could have your kids just give thumbs up, thumbs down, either in the video, or there's also, I know on the Zoom panel, you can actually do a little emoji thumbs up. So I know that panelists like Donald, you can go in and click your little thumbs up and a little thumbs up emoji will appear on the screen. And so this is a great way to see what your kids already know about the regions. So for this, I've pulled some images out of our virtual field trip. So they're actual images from Georgia of these places, and just asking for the kids to identify which of these images, which of these animals or plants or ecosystems are found in the Appalachian Plateau. So if it's yes, just do a thumbs up. I don't think we have a thumbs down in this platform, but just do thumbs up if it's yes. We'll assume no if there's nothing, or you can say yes, no verbally. So the first one is the black bear. Is that found in the Appalachian Plateau? Donald says yes, and he's right. And then you can talk about other things. Where else are bears found? We're in, but I think we think about them as being in forest environments. We don't know that they also live, not everyone knows they live in the Okefenokee necessarily and prey upon alligator eggs. So it's just a great teachable moment to talk about mammals and bears and how they are related.
We actually have black bears in Coweta County.
Oh, lovely. So you can talk, then they can share their stories, because at the beginning of the school year, kids are going to want to talk about their experiences, you know, for better or worse. We've been going through a lot these past few months. So if one of their experiences is the bear in the backyard, then, you know, bring it on. Talk about regions and bear encounters. So sounds great. Or they may not know that bears are also in the Appalachian Plateau. They may think it's just like a Piedmont thing. So it's a great way, again, to go into that. Okay, so for this one, thumbs up, thumbs down. Appalachian Plateau, you know, this is where you can talk about what is a plateau, what do plateaus look like. This image, of course, has nice, you know, flat tops on it. It's Cloudland Canyon. So it's a great way to talk about plateaus as, you know, landforms as well. And a tiny little bit of plateau, probably not. If he is there, he's going to be maybe in the sewers. So we definitely don't want. Oh, there you go. A little clap for. We like alligators, but we don't necessarily want them, you know, in our mountains. So he's an aquatic guy, and so he doesn't do well in waterfalls, which is really typical of an Appalachian Plateau. And how about this one? Do we know what this is even? Talk about what it is, how it's associated with our state, and whether or not it grows in the Appalachian Plateau region.
Now, I thought these only came in bags, like salted, roasted.
That's right, isn't it? And that's a good thing too. A lot of kids are like, what is that?
What is that?
Yes, they may not know, because they do look kind of not as appetizing when they're covered with roots and dirt and they're not boiled on the side of the road. So, so just another teachable moment. So that's kind of, again, very simple. You're just using images, but there's so many ways that you can build a conversation and information around those. And of course, as scientists, that's what we do. We introduce, you know, a fact, some kind of data, and then we analyze it to death. So it's great to do it with these images. Same thing, this is coastal plain. I'll just go through this quicker. So we've got our gopher tortoises, our state reptile that is a keystone species in the coastal plain. This thing you guys may recognize is a monadnock. So this one is Arabia Mountain, and those are found in the Piedmont. So kids may talk about climbing Stone Mountain. You can say this is like Stone Mountain, but it's a lot less crowded. So if you're looking for social distancing opportunities, go to Mount Arabia. Then you've got, you know, this beautiful vision of St. Simon's Island, which is definitely coastal plain. Kids will know about that. And then our green tree frog, our state amphibian, also in the coastal plain, as well as other regions. So just another way, of course, to to get your kids talking about these regions. All right, before we move on, anything you want to add, Donald, before we move into the next section?
No, I think I'm good here.
Okay. So I mentioned this one in our last session with early childhood. This is for K through 2. I really do feel like, actually it says K through 4 here, pre-K through 4. It really is a great resource for a large age group, because even though it is understandable for littles, it also has a lot of content in it, which is valuable for some of the older kids too. But it's short, slow paced, very engaging. So I'd highly recommend this resource all around. And I've clicked on Everyday Science for preschoolers, but I don't want you guys to be put off by that preschool label. As I mentioned, it even says here up to 3rd grade, but I think I taught 3rd through 5th. And I feel like definitely 3rd grade. And even some of my 4th graders may have been like, you know what, it's just relaxing to watch an animated video. My 19-year-old still watches, Disney videos. So, so you sometimes don't judge, that the kids may not want to watch something silly. If you watched it and you enjoyed it as an adult, they probably will too. There's animation, there's live action videos, and they all talk about, as you can see, lots of great just how to experiment, the whole scientific process, whether or not things will sink or float. That's in your standards. The sounds, so of course, mechanical waves, how to identify insects and reptiles. So we have some classification there. Here's adaptations, like a tale like this talks about adaptations to our environment. So a lot going on here. I'm just scrolling down. There's 2 pages. And, of course, these have lots and lots of content, games as well. Here's some interactives and some videos. And you'll notice that the videos come with supportive materials. So like this one on simple machines, which is less than 2 minutes long. But if you click on it, it has 4 support materials that go with it. And those include some background reading, some discussion questions, an activity that they can do, and then a further expansion materials. You'll see it is aligned to the standards. You can download the video if you want to embed it in something, and you can also share it via Google Classroom. So if you have your Google Classroom set up, very simple, you click on that, choose your classroom, assign it to your kids, give it a due date. It's that easy. They don't need to do anything else as long as you have them in your Google Classroom. And if you like it, you can favorite it, add it to folders. So there's a lot of things you can do with this. I also wanted to highlight Hero Elementary. This is a relatively new series on PBS Kids, so not everyone may be familiar with it, but it is, of course, part of that broadcast schedule, so kids are probably watching it at home. And I really love this. It's very diverse, and it also talks about the superpowers of science, which, as a science teacher, my background is science, and I just always thought science was fascinating and amazing. But a lot of kids and adults are intimidated by science for maybe not having as positive an experience. So this idea that it's a superpower, that our ability to observe and make connections and solve problems is all part of our superpowers. And I love the way that these children, this group of kids, uses their superpowers to make the world a better place and delve into science. So you've got solid or liquid, heating and cooling, the properties of materials, classifying matter, the animal life cycles and basic needs, pushing and pulling. So we got force. So you can see just tons and tons of stuff going on. And this is a new series. They're constantly adding to it, the 5 senses. So we'll continue to grow, over time. And again, your kids may be watching this on television. They'll be excited to do it in the classroom with their friends, to do some of the activities that they watched the superheroes of Hero Elementary, the Sparks crew do. Have you seen this series?
Yeah.
You have?
Okay. Yeah.
You watch it with your kids?
Well, my daughter's a 10th grader.
Oh, no, then.
We don't watch that as much as we used to. I have to admit, though, I have caught an episode or 2 on my own.
Yes, me too. All right, so next one. So another one, Science U. This one's out of North Carolina, and I went to Carolina, so I'm a little biased, but I also think it's just a great resource. It has 20 videos for grades K through 12, and again, they're very short, less than 2 minutes long, but they are showing this whole exploration of children in the real world. So is a bubble always round? They go around, they interview kids. What do you think? Is the bubble always round? Even if we use, a square wand, will it still be round? And kids, tell what they think, because it's all about pre-knowledge and preconceptions. It's okay if we're wrong, because the whole point of science is to learn. So we have our theories, and then we do the experiment, and then we rethink. So that's what they're doing throughout all of this. What is an owl pellet? Can something be both a solid and a liquid? So these are really fun, engaging, real-world experiences going on with these kids, and I just think they did an amazing job for this. And you'll see, again, they come with support materials. So let's see. Does backwash really happen? I'm sure kids will love that one.
I can confirm.
So can you get power from 11? There's a good one. So two minutes, we'll click on that one. A little experiment they can maybe do at home. The support materials that come with that is for students and for teachers. So there's 2 different handouts. Again, you can download it, 2 minutes long, share it. Maybe even show yourself doing this experiment, on a Zoom. So they can watch the video and then watch you try and do it. So just lots of things you can do with these. So Science U, highly recommend that one as well. Lots of great videos and support materials in there. All right, so that was life science, right? That was life science. Sorry about that, I went into physical, got a little excited. But that was life science. They all have everything. So even though I was highlighting different things, I hope you noticed that there's lots of life science resources in there as well. Because I think owl pellet is obviously life science, and I think we had DNA from the strawberry, but blood pressure. So it's all mixed up. So these are kind of overarching of series I'm sharing. Now, Earth and space science, I'll try and focus on that. So for 2nd grade, wanted to really sort of highlight these 2 different standards. Information about stars, having different sizes and brightnesses, and then information about our solar system, the patterns of the sun and the moon, and how the sun affects Earth. So for this one, here we are in space. This is another series called Bringing the Universe to America's Classrooms. 5 interactives, 3 lesson plans, 8 videos, the media galleries. So a lot, again, going on for early elementary. So I clicked on grades K through 2, but you can click on grades 3 through 5 as well. And you'll see we have space, Earth systems, and weather and climate. So I'm going to click on Earth systems here. And so we have exploring earthquakes and plate tectonics, drought, and let's see, water, salt versus fresh, global patterns. So you can see, again, flooding, lots and lots going on here for earth science, distribution uses of water, landslides, water-wise farming. So these, again, short videos. All of these series that I'm highlighting for you are short videos, knowing that you don't really necessarily want to plop your kids if you're doing synchronously in front of a 30-minute video. You have limited time with your kids. So if you're working synchronously, you really don't want it to be more than 3 minutes tops. Most of these videos are around 2. So even though they're short, they really pack quite a punch in terms of information. So I'm really trying to highlight those videos that are really short but engaging, so you can keep their attention in this virtual environment. So you'll see this one is a lesson plan on earthquakes and volcanoes. This is an interactive. So again, it's going to be a sort of a tactile game-based learning. This is a media gallery, which is going to have videos and images and documents all together, a whole gallery. And so you can see it's not just videos in here. You can go into any of these and find that there's more content. I'm just going to click on this image of the global patterns of mountain ranges. You can download this image. It's aligned with the standards again. Support materials that go around it just with this one image. There's some background reading, some teaching tips, and some discussion questions just on this map. You'll see that every one of these resources is going to have things that you can use in the classroom. You don't have to come up with ideas necessarily for how to use this resource. You can go straight to what's provided and then expand or tweak it as works for you in your classroom or your grade level. So even if you think, your 6th grade kids could use this or your 2nd grade kids could use it, just expand it to your needs. So this is one piece of content I really wanted to highlight, because I'm showing you a lot of collections, knowing that you'll probably need to go in and look at those collections on your own when you have a chance. So we've gone through several collections, Everyday Learning and Science U, and this one is from Bringing the Universe to America's Classrooms. But I do want to highlight just one particular piece of content, and that's the interactive lessons. So this is where I was telling you your kids do need to be assigned this through Google Classroom or through Clever. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it just so you can see what it looks like. You can continue as a guest, but if you want to assign it to your kids, you do need to be logged in as a teacher. But these interactive lessons are complete. So they are a full lesson from beginning to end. They are in a virtual environment, so it means that you assign them to your kids asynchronously, and they complete them at the end of a period of time. And when they complete them, their work, their unique work, will come back to you in Google Classroom or in Clever, depending on, I think right now we're doing Google Classroom, might be able to do Clever as well.
Yeah.
So this particular one, just 6 pages long. And so you can see that in the menu, it tells you what's on every page. So it's about the sun, the moon, patterns in the sky, and then the sun, the moon, and stars. So it really goes straight to that standard that we're highlighting. And the work here, the kids can actually see what work they have done. So as they go through the lesson, they can save it as they go through, or it'll save their work automatically. And then they can go and pick up where they left off if they don't want to do all 6 pages in one sitting. So the first page is just an introduction. You know, look at the picture. What do you see? So we've got an image here. You can click on it and blow it up, make it a little bit bigger. It's not just that little, oops. What did I just do? Sorry guys, it looks like I hit the wrong button. Apologize for that. And you can see, we'll move on to page 6, or page 2 of 6. The next one's about the moon, and there's a little video, a descriptive video about that, and we click on that. Looks like it's less than a minute long, so again, very, very short descriptive video. So they're just gathering information at this moment, doing some observation. Here's about patterns in the sky, another descriptive video. So again, we're building up their information. You don't have to refer them to any videos or images. They're all part of this lesson plan. This is about patterns in the sky, so on page 4. It's very, very basic. And now there's a slideshow. So it's asking you to launch the slideshow and then name one pattern that happens in the sky every day. And so the slideshow is here, and then there's an activity called Visualize It. So if you click on Visualize It, then it says, the instructions are part of it. It says, follow the position of the sun in the sky over a day. Where does the sun first appear? Mark an X. Where does it last appear? Mark an O. And then, so again, it's an engaging activity where they can go in, pick their color, and they can mark, you know, where they saw the pattern in the sky. So it's a little more of a tactile learning. That's page 6, or page 5. And then the last page is going to be the summary page, and there's a little storybook from Keep and the Big Wide World, which another series I really enjoy. And so this is another example of a type of interactive. This isn't a
One
game.
sunny morning,
It's a
peep,
book.
chirp, and quack where they stopped. Here's what they saw in the sky. They saw trees.
So again, there's videos, there's games, there's ebooks, all kinds of things that are in PBS Learning Media, and in this case, embedded right into the lesson plan for you. So I want to show you how I got these lesson plans. So here we are in PBS Learning Media. That was just one of many. And if you go in here and you search for science, and then you click, I'm going to go ahead and filter grades 2 through 5. So I've got that whole grade band. And then under type, I'm going to click on interactive lesson. So there are 62 interactive lessons appropriate for grades 2 through 5. And you can see, and all for science. And so we have motion, states of matter, weather, seasonal changes, hot and cold water, magnetism, the wind, let's see, melting chocolate, reproduction. So I know that's coming up too. Friction, static electricity, gravity. So a lot going on. All of these are interactive lessons where, again, they're already complete. You just assign them to your kids, find out what they know, get their work back, and you basically do nothing except review their work. So love that. Love that it's already made for you, and
Yeah.
they're a lot of fun. Yeah. Wish I'd had these. And there's the interactive storybook that was embedded. I just really liked that, so I went ahead and gave you a separate link. This one is Peep Observes the Moon, and again, you saw what it's like. It does have support materials on its own, so even if you didn't want to just use it in that lesson plan, you can. There's background reading, teaching tips, discussion questions just on this ebook, and standard alignments as well. And you can just assign the ebook as well. And I did want to mention, because I really do like Peep in the Big Wide World. I know that we have some teachers out there who are for older kids, but for the youngers, the 2 and 3 and even 4, this is on PBS Learning Media. So I went ahead and put that in here because, again, it has games and videos, you know, the way things move, sound waves, animals and plants, light and color. So it's just another great site I just wanted to share with you guys from PBS. All right, so 4th grade, we're moving up. How are we doing on time? Yep, 20 more minutes. Okay, 4th grade, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information to demonstrate the water cycle. So develop models to illustrate multiple pathways water may take during the water cycle. So I wanted to just focus on some content around that strategy, giving everyone, or that standard, giving everyone a little bit something to start with. So this particular resource is from New York. I showed you one from North Carolina. This is from New York. Again, it's not exactly aligned to our standards, but it's really, really close. So grade 4, physical sciences, you see here, physical setting. We're still in earth science, but this is grade 4. So some of the resources here, a lesson plan on air. Here's images comparing the sizes of the planets. This is on buoyancy, that's more physical science. Here's characteristics of the sun, you know, as a star. There's gravity, cloud types. So you can see lots of earth science here as well as physical. There's some erosion and weathering for earth science, gravity on earth and in space. And you can see their videos, their images, lesson plans, interactives. Again, very, very rich, 2 pages full of content, 30 videos, 2 images, a document, 5 interactives, a lesson plan, and 10 resources in Spanish. So that's just for grade 4, right on target for you guys. Definitely keep an eye on these. Here's some DBQs in science as well. And there's grade 5 for those 5th grade teachers out there. Also see that there's some, this looks for like social studies, mostly. Oh, there's some science too. Deserts, who owns the water, a little bit. So, but keep in mind, it's mostly for 4th grade, because that was that physical setting of 4th grade strategy. There's 4th grade standards. So what I wanted to highlight for this one, this particular resource from this collection is this activity called See No Wonder. We did this with Active, especially as an instructional hook for you to see what your kids already know and to see what they are interested in. So it really helps guide a lesson. So in this one, I'm going to be playing, we're actually going to be interacting with a piece of content, and I want you to just be looking at it. There's no, it's not a video, it's just an image. Just be observing what you see, just the facts, very, very basic. What are you observing? And different kids will observe different things will jump out at them. Then what do you know personally? What do you know from either you know, personal contact at home, or from a connection you have with your parents or with your friends, or something you learned in school earlier? What knowledge are you bringing to the table about this particular area of interest? And then question, what are you curious about? What do you not understand? What do you want to know more about? So even though it's very simple, you really get a lot of information from your kids when they analyze this content in 3 different ways: observing, inferring, questioning. Again, scientific processes, right? So here is the piece of content. It is an animation of the water cycle. There's no, again, it really helps the kids use that visual learning and just focus on what they see. And you know, you don't necessarily have to teach them anything. It's a hook. What do they already know about the water cycle? What's happening? So I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit of this video. Again, you can download it, standards aligned. It comes with support materials, background reading and discussion questions. You can share it straight up to your kids. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. Very, very basic video, but it's like an image that's moving. Less than a minute long. Again, I just really like that resource for its flexibility. It's great as an instructional hook, but it's also good for your kids to narrate at the end, maybe. You know, they can just play it and they can narrate all the parts of the water cycle. And that's something to be done virtually as well, because you can have that playing in the background with kids are speaking. Oh. And this is another way they can share their thoughts. This is a Padlet. So I've got like a see, a know, and a wonder column. So if your kids want to go in and type what they're seeing, what they know about it, what they wonder, it's another way to get them to share their information, either verbally or in the chat or in something like a Padlet where you can keep the information and keep adding onto it as you learn more about this topic throughout the unit. So I got that lesson, that particular strategy. If you've never heard of it, you think wonder, it's from Harvard's Project Zero. So this is a document with our favorite teaching strategies, and it's just three different websites we really like just to kind of focus on. So it's a little bit about where to find them, a summary of them, and how to find your way around. So this one, as I mentioned, is from Harvard Project Zero. And if you haven't seen this site, it's so valuable. So this is what it looks like. And what I love about this is you can filter by teaching subject. So if I filter by science and technology, it'll highlight those teaching strategies that are like See, Think, Wonder right there at the top that are especially good for teaching science. So all the ones in green are some teaching strategies you might want to check out. I'm going to be highlighting these throughout our videos today, but a few of them I've picked out. It's just a great, easy to use site to go and find ideas for how to present this content in engaging ways. Just another source for teachers when they're looking for different approaches. Don, do you have anything you want to add? I know I'm talking a lot trying to get through the hour, but please feel free to drop in.
No, that Project Zero site is going to be important, I think. That's one of the things that we're trying to do in science is get the kids to think through what they're seeing, process the data. So I like that. I made a note to go back to that. Also, too, the idea of narrating simulations. I love that idea as well. I think that's a great teaching strategy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And one thing about that is you can use it both, right? Use it bookmarks, right? Or not bookmarks, bookends. So right in the beginning, you can show the video, find out what they know about, and at the end, like, okay, there's that same video. What have we learned? And so it's okay to use the same source over and over again. Kids are familiar with them.
Yep.
All right, so still in 4th grade, let's see, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information to demonstrate the water cycle. I think we just did that. So I must have gone backwards by accident. Okay, so this is, again, one of those interactive lesson plans. I won't go through the whole thing, but I just want to show you that there are several of them. This one's states of matter and states of water. And this particular one is on hot water and cold water. So again, talking about states of matter. I think that might be, yeah, that was it. So let me just highlight one of them just a little bit. It says grade 2, but I really feel like this would work for grade 3, even 4 too, especially when you have kids all different literacy levels and abilities. I think it would be okay to share this with your kids. You can even have, for your gifted kids or your kids that this might be a little easy for them, you can have them jump to the end and demonstrate mastery at the end of the session. So this is a 27-page lesson plan because it's broken into lexile levels. So you can, as I mentioned, you don't have to have your kids do busy work necessarily. You can say, okay, for this group, I want you to jump to page 6 and start there. Or I want you to go to the end and show me that you've mastered this content already. You do well on the assessment, you don't have to do the lesson plan. So there are ways that you can use content that may be a little bit lower to address kids that are in the middle and higher too. So this one, as I mentioned, 27-page long, but if you look at the menu, or part of it's because there are different lexile levels throughout, low, mid, and high. So again, very useful here, and kids will identify what lexile level they are at the beginning. So this is the introduction here, and it talks about, how things are arranged in this lesson plan. And as they move forward into the next pages, says, get ready to read and learn about hot and cold water. You're going to turn the page and watch a short video. So we can do that. Can't tell if my computer's slow or if I'm not hitting the right button. There we go. So watch and learn. Here's a fact about water. And then you just watch this video. I think the next it gets into the lexile levels. Yeah. So then you select which penguin, you know, is your Lexile range, or you can tell the kids, you know, select the blue, the red, or the purple, and then it'll jump them, you know, to that next level, and then they'll read just their version. So I think, again, these are really useful for differentiation. Whew, throwing out lots of strange vocabulary words today. So there you go. Again, this one is like that. This one, hot water, cold water. So is this one on states of matter. They both have Lexile choices in them. And again, you can share these with Google Classroom. And so you very easy. It's already done. You just need to kind of give kids some guidance on what you expect from them, since it's such a long lesson. All right, physical science, last one. So this one is 5th grade. Obtain, evaluate, and communicate information to investigate electricity. So for this one, I love these. These are simulations. Again, we cannot be with our kids in the classroom. And of course, that hands-on learning is so important. And we can't do it right now, but we have these awesome simulations. So this is called the Sim Bucket, full of simulations. There are 15 of them. It says for grades 6 through 12, but I don't agree as an elementary school science teacher. I think this is perfectly appropriate for my 5th, 4th, 3rd graders. So here is a circuit builder right on target. There's also a balloon charging lab. So we've got static electricity there as well. Density labs, you know, metal conduction, model conduction here, graphs and matching. So again, lots of great lessons and interactives going on here that you can use these simulations. There's also ChemThink here. So this goes into chemistry, atomic structure, and bonding. But for this particular standard, I was just honing in on these simulations on electricity. So again, wanted to highlight the balloon charging lab. I'll show you a little bit how that works. You just launch it. It takes you into the simulation, and you can rub the balloon on the sweater. Yay! And so then, you can see what's going on, observe. And this is similar to maybe like a See, Think, Wonder activity, because they're having to make observations, figure out what they know, and again, you can use it to narrate at the end. So it's very similar to what we did, but again, it's just another way. Of course, they can use real balloons at home as well, and so maybe they can compare. If they're doing like a virtual presentation, they can show a real balloon on their hair, and they can use this as well. It's just another resource to help flesh out their research and your presentation. Here's that circuit builder. So launch that one. You can see, again, this is has a little bit more that you can do on this one, not just rub the balloon, but this one you have to actually place the wires and build the circuit yourself. This is a little bit more challenging. You can see you have the different components here. You've got your drawing tool, your battery tool, and then your voltmeter and ammeter. So you can go and build this. This is a little bit more interactive, more hands-on. So very useful, because they may not have wires and batteries at home and light bulbs, so it's just good to give them an alternative. And then here's another one of those lesson plans. This is very similar to the one we saw with the hot cold, but this one is on magnets, but you can see again, 25 pages. It's got that Lexile jumping again, Lexile differentiation. And so whenever you see these that kind of have these animals on them, you know, the squirrel, the dog, the walrus, the frog, they all have that Lexile differentiation. So keep that in mind. And they're all about science. All right. So another activity you can do with your kids, just to make it more real world, especially for 5th graders when they're getting into careers and their future. And that is, you know, another standard alignment. So is to take some of these things that they're learning about in the classroom and associate them with careers. So we have a really great career series called Fast Forward that talks about jobs and careers in Georgia specifically. So again, it makes it a little bit more accessible. Again, it sounds very simple, but the idea is for them to analyze a job or a career and talk about what is positive to them about working in that career. And again, no right or wrong answer. It could be, I want to work here because I love math. It could be, the minus could be, I don't want to work here because I hate math. You know, it could be, it's really personal, so you can find out about your kids. What is interesting to them? Where might be areas where you can help them? Like if they are, you know, they aren't confident in math, how can you bring more math into your science and build their confidence? It's a good way just to get to know them. Maybe you want to do this in the beginning of the year as you're getting to know each other. So what do you guys want to be when you grow up? A lot of times kids don't know the types of careers out there. If they can't see it, they can't be it, right? So you have to provide them with these visuals in terms of what's available to them. So plus, minus, interesting, great teaching strategy, can be done online. This is a video from our Fast Forward series about electricity at Southwire in Carrollton. And so most of our electronics, our electrical connections are made with Southwire products. And so they talk about engineering and about electricity. And I'm just going to play the beginning of it because I think it's kind of cute. It's, again, you know, less than 4 minutes, so it's pretty short if you want to do it synchronously, or you can just assign it to your kids. But it's very cheeky, so it does not take you know, this stuff seriously. It's a good way to get kids involved.
What is electricity?
What is electricity? It's a concentration of electrons.
Electricity? It makes your lights turn on.
You know, centralized towards one source.
Electricity is magical, I think.
I don't know. I don't like being put on the spot like that.
Man, that's a tough question.
Electricity is simply power.
You're not gonna put that on the video, are you?
It's like that. Because it shows that even adults, you know, it's a concept that's a little challenging. So it's a great way to start this unit where you're like, it's okay, guys, electricity is not easy. But then, of course, it goes into all these guys work with electricity, so it's kind of fun. They're still learning. So it's a good series, again, and there's many, many of them. Good to share with your kids just to open up their horizons. And you can easily embed this into a Nearpod, for instance. So with this one, I've embedded this graphic organizer into the Nearpod, and so the kids can go in and draw either an image of why they don't like it, or they can use the text box and put in each column what's positive about working with electricity, what's negative, and what's interesting. You can use this graphic organizer for every career that you introduce to them. And of course, this is aligned to the standard. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap it up here again. As I mentioned, this is that resource that is available to you all the time that goes into all the content we covered from life, physical, and earth science. You can see there's Hero Elementary. We didn't get into Curious George, but that's another, lots of games and activities there for some of the younger grades. It goes PK through 4 is the recommended grade band for that. Everyday learning, we did a little bit. 60-second science, we didn't go into these, but there are, as they say, they're 60-second videos, just short videos about science. If you're looking for more short content for synchronous learning, keep those in mind. Sci Girls, I love this series. It's a bunch of girls who get together and practice science in the real world. And even if not for girls, they're just going out and having fun with science and making it accessible. So Young Explorers is another one. I love Dragonfly TV. It's older, but I still think it's very relevant. It's just, you know, it's not as shiny and as some of the more new series, but I still think it's very well done for the time period it was made. So as you go down through this, you'll recognize Zoom, another older series, but all this is available free. There's the Wild Kratts, Nature Cat, of course, Nature, we all know about that, Ready, Jet, Go, Scratch Junior. So all these, some very recognizable, trusted sources of content, and they're all aligned to the standards for 2nd through 5th grade science. So keep that in mind as a resource for you guys. And I was going to ask for your one thing. So hopefully you got at least one thing that you can use this year from this PD that will help you in your important work with our kids. And thank you for tuning in. And Donald, did you want to add anything at the end before you say goodbye?
Oh yeah, no, thanks for listening in, guys. As Tracy said, you can contact her or you can contact me for help using any of these resources in your classroom. I hope you will take advantage of them because they're fantastic. And thanks for joining in.
Thank you. Bye.